Hey viewers and friends and horror fans, Andrew back at you with another review, and today I'm not going to be reviewing a slasher movie. I'm going to be reviewing a zombie film, a Norwegian 2009 release, Dead Snow. Now I've actually owned this film for quite some time and finally just got around to watching it, and I definitely wanted to review it. Now I know most of you have probably seen this film or at least heard of it and pretty much know what it's about, because I do know this has been quite a popular one within the YouTube community, but still I've only just seen it and I definitely wanted to post my review. So plot wise, there's not a lot happening in this one in terms of plot, but basically it centres around a group of medical students who are on a weekend vacation, staying in a remote cabin in the mountains. It's snowing, and they've just basically gone up there to relax, hang out and have a bit of fun amongst the group. And you know, things start out well. They've arrived at the cabin, they're mucking around, having a good time, and then this old man arrives and basically tells them of a legend of these Nazis that occupied the area during World War II, and you know how they were pretty evil to a lot of the townsfolk, and the townsfolk eventually got revenge on these Nazi soldiers, and they basically had to retreat back into the mountains, and you know there's the evil presence lurking around the area. So that is pretty much your rundown of the plot. It turns out that there certainly is the evil presence lurking around. The Nazis have now turned into zombies, and as the movie gets further into it, they start making an appearance and of course start killing off these medical students one by one. So that is pretty much your basic rundown of the plot. As I said, not a lot is happening in terms of a really deep storyline or plot for this one, but the type of movie it is, it doesn't really need a deep and meaningful storyline or plot. Now what I thought of this movie: absolute perfection. I loved this movie. I thought it was absolutely amazing, and I really can't believe that it's taken me so long to check it out. One of the main reasons that I think I've been holding off checking the movie out for so long is the comedy elements. Most of you know I'm not really big into comedy mixed with horror, and I'm very, very picky when it comes to that sort of movie. You know, there's a real fine line for me, and this movie certainly nailed it. There were comedic elements throughout and they were really, really well done, but it wasn't overdone or too heavy. You know, it had a great balance between the comedy elements and the horror. I was quite surprised how suspenseful a lot of the scenes were in this film. There was some great suspense, absolutely amazing gore, and I mean amazing. Yeah, there were some CGI, but it was mixed in with practical effects and it worked really, really well. Some of the best effects that I've seen for modern horror. They just worked really, really well. There were some awesome kills, a lot of really fun ones, a lot of different types of kills as well. And the zombies themselves looked awesome. I loved the Nazi zombies. You know, they still had their original Nazi uniforms on, even with some of them were wearing helmets, which was pretty cool. And the zombies themselves, the makeup effects were phenomenal. The zombies, or the Nazi zombies, looked really, really awesome. You know, the faces, the hands, that just so well done. So yeah, I thought this movie was absolutely perfection. It nailed what it set out to do perfectly, and it never really tried to be anything different than what it was intended to do. Fantastic cast of characters. Now what I love about foreign horror compared to a lot of American horror is the age of the characters. Quite often there's an older cast, and there certainly was in this one, from my understanding, or at least from what I've checked up on the movie after watching it. A few of the actors were in their mid to late 30s, which I thought was awesome. My favourite character was Martin. He was awesome. And the movie basically paid great homage to a lot of the older classics that fall within this sort of horror comedy category. Bad Taste, the movie, reminded me a lot of that. It reminded me a lot of Dead Alive. There were a lot of Evil Dead references thrown in. Not just that, but there were horror references thrown in left, right and centre, especially towards the start. There was a cool nod to April Fool's Day, and one of the characters, can't really pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to bother. I think it was Erland or something. The blonde guy, the sort of chubby blonde guy, he was a big horror fan, and there were a lot of references centered around him, which was awesome. And he was my second favorite character. Martin was my all-time favorite, and then Erland was my second favorite. But all the other cast were really, really good. You sort of had the mixture of the guys and the girls, and I wouldn't say I loved all of the characters, but I certainly enjoyed them all. I didn't really find any of them annoying or irritating. So great characters, great setting. Of course, it was set in the mountains with a lot of snow, so all the blood effects on the snow and the killings on the snow just looked awesome. Fantastic cinematography. There were a lot of landscape and outdoor scene shots, and they looked amazing. The transfer on this Blu-ray was top notch, by the way. Great transfer, great picture quality. The music in this was a lot of fun, especially the intro song. I loved that. But all round, I just thought this movie was absolutely perfect. I loved it, and I thought I'd enjoy it, but I was surprised. It definitely surpassed my expectations, and to me, this is a modern classic. Absolutely modern classic. Definitely up there with the likes of Shaun of the Dead. And bold statement, but I'm probably going to rate this above Shaun of the Dead, and this is quite possibly my favourite zombie film of all time now. I just loved it so much. Utter perfection in my opinion. Just absolutely amazing. So I'm sure most of you have seen it, you know how good it is, but if you're one of the few people that haven't checked Dead Snow out yet, can't recommend it enough, especially if you are a zombie fan. It's sort of different from a lot of other zombie movies, and even if you're a fan of comedy mixed with horror, this is done right. Everything about this film was just done perfectly, and this is an absolute must, an absolute modern classic in my opinion. So as an overall score, I'm going to score it a 4.5 out of 5. Not quite a 5, but 4.5 out of 5. So obviously highly recommend this one. Now obviously it's Norwegian, so it is subtitled, but don't let that put you off. The dialogue mixes in well with the action, and at no point in time of this movie was I interrupted from what was happening on the screen visually with reading the subtitles. It all blended in really well. So yeah, even if you're not a massive fan of subtitled films, I still recommend checking out Dead Snow. Amazing zombie film. I want to go a lot more in depth with some of the jokes and some of the kills and just some of the scenes that happen, but I honestly don't want to spoil this one. I think it's the type of movie that you're best to go in without knowing too much of what's about to happen. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. So if you've never seen Dead Snow, I highly recommend it. Absolutely loved it, and I wish that I'd seen this movie a long time ago. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5. Loved it. So that's been my review for Dead Snow. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're a big fan of this movie, I want to know about it, so definitely let me know in the comments section below. And yeah, thanks for watching.